Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today for mindful movement and meditation. And we'll use the first part of the class to get our bodies loosened up, to get our bodies energized and our minds awake. And then it'll be a nice transition to a mindful meditation at the end for maybe about 10, 12 minutes today. If you'd like to join me in a comfortable seated position, for some of you that might be sitting in the chair, or you can always sit down on a cushion on the floor. Whatever position you're choosing, just make sure that you feel sturdy and stable in your lower body, in your legs, in your feet, and let your hips settle. Take a few moments. I'm not going to close my eyes just yet. I'm going to work more just bringing my senses inward gradually, slowly. So just shifting even your focus to the floor in front of you. And taking a few nice slow breaths in and out. And as we're starting to control the breath voluntarily, just make sure you're not completely overriding your natural breath, that you still kind of feel when the body naturally needs to inhale and exhale. I'm just slowing it down just a little bit here. And at the beginning of the practice, I can use the sounded breath too, and that'll help keep my mind focused and it'll help center us a little bit more. So the sounded breath is that breath that you can hear. And the exhalation sounds like whispered waves. As we begin to connect deeper to ourselves, we can close our eyes and start to really feel through your body, feeling from the seat. And again, letting the lower body anchor us down, providing that solid, stable foundation for the rest of the body. And from the seat, from the lower torso, feeling through the upper body and just making sure that we're sitting up nice and comfortably tall. If you're not sure where that central position is, you can move your body forward and back a little bit, swaying back and forth. And it's just a slight shift. You might not even be able to notice what I'm doing right now. It's just a slight shift to be able to find that central position. Relaxing your shoulders, releasing any tension in your face. For many of us, that's relaxing the jaw, letting the lower jaw release, teeth apart. And the tongue to soften all throughout the entire head and skull. What helps is to bring the tongue softly to rest in the roof of the mouth. And we keep coming back to our breath. We are doing a bit of meditation right now, of course, too. But a little bit more actively breathing, actively centering. We start with the breath because it is this amazing tool to help us come into ourselves and to help us come into this moment We balance the inhale and the exhale, the flow of it. If it helps you, you could count the length of your inhale and count the length of your exhale. Only if you need that. That's another tool, another technique to pull out whenever you need to find that focus. And just like anything we do, it's finding balance. So I just wanted to mention today, too, especially in meditation or anything that we're doing here in yoga, is we're directing our focus. We want focused attention, but at the same time, there's a balance to that. It's not like an intense, oh, I'm concentrating super hard. We want to find also with that energy of directing our focus, we also want to find balance with being free and open in the mind and being able to open our awareness at the same time. So we don't really have to worry about that or know that, but anytime you find yourself kind of like trying to, focus way too hard and you start to get a little intense with it, just come back to more of that balanced focus. The mind is focused but free at the same time. Free to allow anything to go through that needs to go through our awareness, our sensing. And again, it helps so much to keep coming back to the breath. Feeling the breath move through your body. So we're going to begin to move a little bit more. And we can start with a sway from side to side in our upper body. It's really nice to do this on the chair because you are able to sit up nice and tall. Right? And from this sway, let's take it into a circle. So now we'll rotate the torso gently around and try to move slowly. Try to move right from your lower body. And you can follow your breath. So sometimes when we start to move, our breath can get shallow, or we even hold our breath sometimes. And that's from that kind of intense focusing. So come back to your breath. And maybe on the inhale, roll forward. And on the exhale, roll back. And this time we'll come back to center. We'll roll in the opposite direction a few times. And don't worry about completely matching what I was talking about with following the breath when you're coming. Just keep breathing and just keep moving. Right? And it feels really nice. You can start with, you can circle just little spirals, and then gradually it feels good to widen out. And this is a great exercise to do anytime that you're feeling really stiff in your lower upper body, lower torso, lower back. Let's come back to center. And this time we'll begin to flow through the spine. So in the seated cat-cow, as you inhale, try to create that openness in the shoulders, or in the chest, and the shoulders roll back, the head lifts slightly. And as you exhale, the belly comes in, you round your back, your head comes down. Just continue to flow here in a slow, mindful way, feeling your body move and feeling your breath flow. I'll continue this movement for 3 more breaths. And then as you exhale, come back to center and feel into your upper body again. We're going to continue with a few movements to help loosen up the back. This is another really good one. If you raise the right arm slowly and with an exhalation, and just let, even before we come into that side bend, think about relaxing a bit more through the right side of your torso. So I just take my hand there, and that helps the ribs to not bunch up or lift up towards the arm. They can come down and rest and sink down through the front. And then from there, just come over to that first place. And then we'll release. Okay, so starting off gently, we'll bring the other arm up. And you can do that on the inhale. Just release a little bit before you open. And then as you release here, you can stretch a little bit more with your arm. And then release. Doing this very gently for yourself. Let's do that with some flowing movements. On the inhale up, exhale over. And then inhale back up, exhale to release. And just flowing on your own time. We'll do that one more time each side. If we're used to moving our body fairly quickly through our day, sometimes we get a little impatient. And that's normal. Just allow that to come up and witness whatever's coming up, arising for yourself. That's the interesting part about when we're in this space of mindfulness, is that we can witness whatever feelings or attitudes come up without judgment, with acceptance and with kindness, and just being curious about, wonder why I might feel like that, but not getting caught up in it. Okay, one more thing on the chair here. We'll reach back with the left hand and come into a nice gentle twist, reaching your right hand across to your left knee. This one we're going to hold a little bit as we breathe. And you're moving through your ribs. So you can keep your hips as they are. And when you're deciding to go a little bit deeper, allowing the ribs to twist around. But only when it feels right to do so, going deeper. And on your next exhalation, slowly begin to release. Come back to center for a moment. With these slow, mindful movements, we're resetting ourselves and our pace, right? So we'll come to the other side. And how does it feel to be breathing here, observing what we feel? Again, in that focus but free way. If you do want to move deeper into your twist, Try to do that on your exhalation. Spiral around through the ribs. Just imagine you've got a little washcloth here at the middle of your torso and you're just gently wringing it out a little bit. Feels so good. It takes a lot of the stress out of the back. And stress can build up in the tissues of our body. So as we work with our body, we're freeing ourselves, we're releasing that stress. And ultimately it's kind of like a toxin, right? Like not a like super bad toxin, but it is, we're freeing ourselves from all those toxins in the body. And the breath also is a huge way to purify and nourish ourselves, breathing in a balanced way. Okay, so grounding down through your feet to come off the chair. And for now, we'll just set aside the chair, just to the one side of your mat here. And we'll come into a standing position for the next few things. So as we stand up, it's good to notice more about the feet, the soles of the feet. You can rock a little bit forward and back from your heels to your toes. It can be really helpful especially when we feel overcome with, a lot of mind activity, to center ourselves. Take your focus to the farthest places away from the mind. That's a really good way to bring that energy down into the body and to root and ground down. So now bending and straightening through the legs. And we do this a lot, but it's an excellent, excellent exercise. So on the inhale, bending the knees. On the exhale, straightening the legs. As you straighten, you're also pushing down with your feet, like you want to root down a little more actively into the earth. And of course, physically, we're, moving, flowing, doing a little bit of strengthening. But we can think of this more as an energetic exercise for our body. How we want to connect our root chakra energy down to the earth to receive and release that flowing energy that moves up and down. And we have this access to this energy that is like our stabilizing, grounding, nourishing force. It helps us to feel safe, right? So come back to the legs in just holding them, straightening them, and seeing if you can sense any sort of vibrational experience in your legs. That's really good. So we've opened up the leg channels a bit to be able to receive and release that energy from the earth. Our grounding, stabilizing force. Good. Let's flow through the hips now. So we'll take that up. And again, it's flowing here. On the inhale, you could roll the hips forward. Exhale, roll back. You might feel better widening the feet just a little bit here. And then we can move in the opposite direction. And see if you can just let yourself be here now in this movement. Not needing to rush through it. Having that present experience of it. Coming back to center. And then placing your hands on your hips, and we'll tip forward, and you can bend your knees slightly and then come back up on the inhale. And maybe tip back just slightly, pull your elbows back. And then on your exhalation, we'll come forward. I'll show you from the side here. And you can bend your knees, especially if the backs of the legs are tighter. And root down as you inhale and come up, pulling your elbows back a bit. And do that 2 more times. Starting to open up a little bit more through the back of the legs and coming up into a slight, tiny little back bend. Keep rooted down through your feet. And then this time come back to center. And we'll incorporate the hands and the arms in the movement as you inhale, reaching your arms up. And as you exhale, let's come forward and fold. And again, it could just be halfway to start, but if it feels good, let your arms hang. Root down, bend your knees. We'll flow back up slowly when you're ready. And then as you inhale and come up with your arms reaching, exhale, come down. Okay. And inhale, reaching up. Exhale, let your arms flow out to the sides and come down. And you might come down a little bit more. We're going to, on the inhale this time, just come up halfway. Hands to your thighs. Exhale, sink. You can sink with bent legs. Root down to your feet. This time we'll come all the way up. Reaching through your arms. And exhaling to release here. We'll continue that flow maybe 2 more times, and you can always go on your own time again. Coming up with the inhale and down with the exhale. If you want to keep it flowing again, come halfway up with the inhale and down again with the exhale. And make sure to bend your knees when you're preparing to come all the way back up, reaching through your arms. And exhaling to come down. We'll do that 1 more time. Following your breath. And finally, bringing your hands down. Yeah, take your time. Don't let anybody rush you. Don't let me rush you. As you breathe here, try to focus more on the breath in the back of your body. If it helps you to put your hands or your like this with your thumbs on the back. And just like you can direct your focus anywhere, you can direct your breath with that focus. Opening up the side ribs. Opening up the back as you inhale. And as you exhale, release and let everything come back in. Good. And then we'll bring the hands together in front and turn your hands so that your hands are together and you're pushing forward with your palms. And on your next inhale, come up, your palms facing the ceiling. And as you exhale, release down. And circle your arms a little bit more back, reach back, and interlace your hands again. And on the inhale, maybe bend the knees and come forward slightly. And on the exhale, come back. And it doesn't really matter. I usually come up on the inhale. I just realized, but let's inhale, come up. And exhale, pull the hands down in front. And then this time again, roll. Push out, inhaling on the lift. Exhaling to release your arms and reach back behind you. Inhale, start to pull your hands back. And then exhale and come halfway forward. Reaching your arms up. And on your inhale, come back. Release your arms and reach up. And exhale, come down. We'll do that one more time. So we're going to take that, make the hands come together, push out, inhale. Exhale, take your arms back and interlace your hands again. Inhale, pull out, and exhale, come forward. On your inhale, come back, again, rooting down through your feet. And release the arms, reach them all the way up. And exhale down in front. Pausing here for a breath or two. This time, bring your hands to your shoulders. And we'll circle through the arms or the shoulders a few times. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. And then keeping your hands on top of your shoulders on your inhale, we'll reach out in a nice relaxed way, like opening the petals of a flower. And then as you exhale, come back. We'll continue this for the next 3 breaths. Be really mindful of your body moving slowly. What parts of your arms, shoulders are working to move your body like this? And then we'll slowly lower the elbows down, bring the hands out, and we'll just bring the feet out a little bit wider too. So this is a nice movement. I'll bring my hands up and stretch through the fingers a little bit more. Palms facing forward. And this is a really nice way to keep the shoulders down, not have them bunch up like they tend to do. When we're a bit stressed, they tend to bunch up. So we're pulling down, opening the chest. Let's bend the legs here. So we're in a wide position. My feet are just slightly out to the sides. And when I bend my knees, they're going to go in the same direction as the toes, creating a wide base for your body. And then just straighten, and let's reach up into the star. And let's do that 2 more times. Exhale. And inhale. And exhale, come down. But again, you're flowing with your own breath, not mine. And one more time. Good. This time we'll straighten, arms reach up, and let them come down. We'll turn from this wider stance, we'll turn the left foot out to the side. And you could bring the right toes over that direction just a tiny little bit, over to the left. And we're going to bend and straighten that left knee. So as you're bending, it's really important to guide your knee in the direction of your toes. Okay. If the knee goes past your ankle, you could probably slide your feet out wider apart just a little bit. Okay. All right. So we'll bend and straighten. And as we bend, we're also just shifting straight down. And we're not really leaning forward for this one. With the upper body, we're just going straight down. Good. Now let's add the arm and let's add the movement. Let's add the breath, okay? So as you bend, you're lifting the same arm, the left arm. And as you release, you're straightening your leg and letting your arm come down. We'll do that with the breath on the inhale, coming up, and on the exhale, flowing down. We'll do this 2 or 3 more times. And then we'll come back to center and turn your feet forward and shift your right leg out or right foot out to the side, back foot in slightly. And again, bend and straighten and bend and straighten just to feel the shift in the legs. Feel the bones start to move here and align your knee with your toes and let your upper body sink straight down. Good. And once you've got that, you can add the arm, add the breath, inhaling on the way up and exhaling on the way down. To help you might focus your gaze on something, maybe even following your arm. And we'll do that one more time. And then releasing that, we'll turn both feet forward. Maybe bring the feet in just slightly here. We'll bring the arms up, bring the palms together, and then let's sink forward into a wide-legged forward bend. So we want to come from the hips here. You can bend your knees a little bit. If it's hard to reach down right to the floor, you could slide your hands onto your thighs, come into a half forward bend. And then bending your knees and slowly coming back up, rolling up. And we'll bring our feet in underneath. Maybe just a little bit wider than hip distance, just a tiny little bit wider. Do one more flowing movement here. So as you inhale, your arms come up. And as you exhale, we're going to do a little bit of a twist, turning our upper body to the right and letting the arms flow down to the right side and just bring them to your leg. That's good. Inhale, back up and straighten back to center. And then we'll twist to the other side. And bring your hands down to your leg. And come back up on the inhale. And we'll twist slightly. And try to keep your hips centered here. So it's just a twist again for the upper body. I can even put my hand there on the outside of my hip to bring it back. Soften the knees slightly so they're not locking. And we'll do this one more time each side. Coming back up to center and back down with your hands centered to your heart. Take a moment to feel into the space where your thumbs are pressing into. Go deeper inside the core here of your upper body. This is where our feeling heart resides, our emotional heart, and all emotions that we feel with this center, with this energy center. So sometimes we have those big, strong feelings that come through us. One thing we can do so we don't hold on to anything, emotions are meant to flow. They're energy in motion, emotion. So we can just keep our breath flowing. Keep our breath flowing. And I like to think of especially when I come to the heart center, feeling the breath expand from the heart center, not just through the front of your torso, but through the upper back too. So feel an expansion from the center as you inhale and let it expand out on all sides. And as you exhale, it's that release, it's that cleansing action. Inhale builds the energy through your center and expands it out. In the exhale, just pulls up whatever needs to be cleansed out of the body, whatever is just lingering that's not meant to stick around. And we can do this breathing practice whenever we need um, to process any emotions that go through. And it doesn't mean we don't try to prevent ourselves from feeling them or write them off as, we honor them, accept them, and let our bodies process them, whatever comes through our heart. So we're clearing that heart energy. And in essence, we're putting our heart to rest again. And with your hands here, we can also then come to the middle of the forehead with the hands. And this is my teacher's been calling it more of our spiritual heart. It's where the wisdom of our heart can really manifest and we can hear it. Right? And we come here for inner knowing, to connect to our intuition right at the center here. And when our emotional heart, our feeling heart's at rest, we can then come up and get guidance, connect to that inner knowing. Anything we need answered, we can question there after we put our heart at rest. All right. So just a little technique to help us go about our daily lives. We're going to come down now. And you can come back to the chair for the meditation. But just before we do the meditation, I just like to do a little bit more of a hip release. So if you'd like to come down first onto your seat. And if you want to sit on a little something to help lift you up and out of your hips and pelvis, feel free. But we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Sit up nice and tall, using the hands on the legs to help you sit nice and tall, and pulling up, and elbows come back slightly. And if it feels good, you can start to come over a little bit. And when you come over, shift from your hips. Shift over from your hips, keeping your spine nice and long. Good. And then on your next inhale, come back to the center. Bring your hands behind you and open through your chest. Lift through your heart. Okay. And then we'll come back to center. And you can push on your legs and bring them back. We're going to do one more thing actually before our meditation. We'll come onto the back because it's always nice to release the back. To keep the knees bent, feet on the floor, and roll down, and just really let your back settle and sink into the floor. It's a really nice release for your back, and it is a wonderful way to help align your spine into more of an optimal position here. and your neck and your head too. So just feel that for the next few breaths. Letting your body settle, your back settle into the floor. And to continue to keep good alignment in your back, do this position at least a few times every week, where you're on the harder surface with your knees bent, feet on the floor, and you're just letting your back settle. In this lying down position, we actually want to eventually feel as our back muscles release and get softer, toned, but looser. We actually want more and more of our spine to settle into the floor. Okay, let's bring the feet closer in if they're not already, in towards the hips, hip distance apart, and we'll do a rolling dynamic bridge for the last 3 breaths here on our back. So press into the floor with your feet and allow that natural lift to occur of your hips as you roll up your back. And then as you exhale, roll back down. And just continue flowing with your breath a few more times. Feet are hip distance apart. Feet are actively pushing down. Legs are active. This lift is coming from the strength of your legs here, not from your belly. And we'll do that for maybe 2 or 3 more breaths. At the end of this exhalation release, let your spine sink down again into the floor. Let your back muscles relax. Before we come off our back, if you want to bring one knee in towards your chest and then the other squeezing in, using your hands to squeeze your legs in towards your chest. And do a little rock from side to side. And then you can roll over when you're ready onto your side. And you can come up whenever you're ready and do that very slowly and gently. And I mean, if you're really tired today and you want to stay lying down, that's always an option. I'm so glad that years ago, my teacher, especially when I was doing a lot of training and I had, young kids, babies at home, and she said, it's okay to meditate lying down. So that was really nice. You can always meditate lying down. But just to stay a little bit more active with the energies and it's good to sit up. Now, if you want to come back to the chair, feel free. Come back to the chair. If you know you're going to be more comfortable there, there's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting on a chair to meditate. It's wonderful to support your body like that. Okay. So find the position first. Number 1 is to find whatever position is most supportive for you to stay here. And, we're not always perfectly comfortable too. And that's part of our meditation. It's that acceptance piece. Because whenever we're feeling something that's not comfortable, part of maybe our inclination is to really resist and not allow for those those feelings to come through us. So however you feel is the way you feel, and we accept that in our meditation, in any mindfulness practice. It's about allowing for your experience. Okay. And number one, get yourself set up physically in a comfortable position. And today, that, part of our practice will be on our intention will be on acceptance. Instead of resisting, we can acknowledge how we feel physically, also emotionally. We can accept that our thoughts will continue to go through, and that all these things we're referring to are ever changing or transient, temporary. And we're holding space for ourselves. You can come back to your breath as that technique to calm and center yourself. This is the beginning of any meditation practice. This is where we enter. Entering the inner realm, coming closer to the core of your being. Making sure that we can always come back to the physical outer body too, and just support ourselves. Let the shoulders release. Continue to sit up nice and tall. We've got our foundation so that we can sit up nice and tall comfortably without a lot of effort. In meditation, in seated meditation, our backs get stronger and stronger and stronger, but we can support ourselves if we need to. Let's see if you can soften. See if you can soften. As you soften your physical body, keeping the alignment, your energy body will begin to flow more freely. And coming at this with the attitude of acceptance. Mindfulness is not feeling a certain way. Meditation is not feeling a certain way. It's about feeling the way you feel. It's about feeling the way you feel. And not trying to hold on to the pleasant experiences. Just allowing them to come through. Because it won't always be super pleasant. So not trying to hold on to that. Enjoying it while it lasts. and not resisting or pushing away the unpleasant experience because we know it's not going to last forever, it's temporary. Keep coming back to your breath. Focused but free. Balancing that focus with relaxation, with release. Riding the waves of your breath. And knowing that every day we're riding the highs and the lows of our human experiences. Feeling the highs, the middle, the neutral, the lows, and it's all part of it. It's all part of it. And every day we balance positives and negatives by just being aware that there's always both. If you'd like to slowly bring your hands together at your heart, your feeling heart, emotional heart, beautiful heart of that can get into tapping into this deep well, this deep reserve of love, compassion for all beings. And when we are filling ourselves up, we fill ourselves up with these wonderful, peaceful energy, loving energy. We fill it up by coming to our core, to the universe inside of us. That's how we fill ourselves up. That's how we replenish ourselves. If we're too fixated on the outer world, the material world, or just the world around us, we become depleted. So we come back to our inner temple to fill up. And then we can send that out like a ripple effect out from the core of ourselves, out into the world, like waves. These beautiful energy waves flowing out from our core, they could think maybe they're coming right from that heart center. And we can send them wherever we want them to go. Direct them, guide them with your focus. With your breath. Let's take one last deeper breath in. Pause and hold for a moment. And on the exhale, we'll just expand out. Good. You can slowly bring your hands down to the floor. If you can, or just feet connected to the earth if you're on a chair. And that's just the way to ground down our energy body, to find that sense of grounding and centering. And any excess energy that we have, we can let that flow downward. You can open your beautiful eyes, gazing softly in front of you for a moment, with a hint of a smile on your face. Will come out very gradually, so you can just kind of shimmy a little bit from side to side and do any nice little movement or stretch that feels good. Now that we've set kind of a new pace for ourselves, it's good to continue as long as you can, you know. So bring yourself out slowly, doing anything that feels good. I'm going to end us here, so take your time though. Namaste. And thank you so much for joining today. I'll see you again soon.